The Sandman is Coming is the first segment of the 16th episode of the first season of Baby Looney Tunes, and actually with this one I enjoyed it. It was very thought-provoking, but I didn't write that much down. Ordinarily I'll write notes down of things I find, interesting or fun. This one, there wasn't really anything specific in it. I enjoyed it. There was nothing wrong with it, but just not that much in terms of specific quotes or bits of animation. But I do want to point out that that doesn't mean it's bad. I thought it was still pretty good. Granny tells the babies that they need to go to bed because the Sandman's going to come soon and put the sand in their eyes and help them to sleep. And Daffy doesn't want this to happen. So he tries to stay awake all night to catch the Sandman. And in the morning, some of them still have, well, of course, they have sleep in their eyes. And Daffy's confused. So they decide to try and find the Sandman, and Daffy's convinced the Sandman lives in the sandbox, which is a pretty reasonable assumption. But then something happens that's quite scary for them, and I won't say exactly what it is, but it was rather cute, and I thought it played out quite well. And the narrative flowed really well, everything made sense, I understood the baby's fears and where they were coming from. It did make me think, though, I don't remember ever thinking the Sandman was real. I mean, I might have done, but I feel like I always just knew it was one of those, don't let the bedbugs bite. There aren't actually any bedbugs, hopefully. I don't ever remember believing in the Sandman in the way I did Santa Claus. I don't think I ever thought the Easter Bunny was real either. But the interesting thing with this is that Granny, this is the spoiler, I guess. Spoiler from now, I'll discuss what happens right at the end, because I thought it was a pretty moving end and a nice way to round off the narrative. So at the end, Granny realises and she admits that she made a mistake in telling them about the Sandman, because she just thought it was a nice little story and, there's something nice to say, and she didn't realise it would scare them quite as much as it did. And it got me thinking, grown-ups probably say I say that like I'm not a grown-up. Adults probably say things to children all of the time that's, that we don't think twice about. But children can take things very literally. And it can be scary, and especially if you don't truly understand something. And I think it's just a bit of food for thought that you need to be careful when talking to children, because they don't always understand what adults are saying, even though it might make perfect sense to us. And I just thought it was a really interesting thing. And also Granny admitting that she makes mistakes. The babies were like, "What? You make mistakes?" But it's always good for adults to remind children that adults are humans and adults are not perfect, because there are some adults, the kinds, who believe that their conversations are more important than what the children have to say. They're the kind of adults who thinks that they can't make mistakes and that they have to be perfect for children. But they're not. Adults are just stretched versions of children. A little bit more experience, but also a lot more time to have made more mistakes. So I think it was a really nice message there, and also can help some children who are perhaps scared of the Sandman to realise that actually the Sandman is not scary at all. Let's just hope that no parent uses it as a punishing tool, which I hope they don't, but it wouldn't be surprising if, somebody said, if you don't go to sleep, the Sandman will come and get you, kind of, Freddy Krueger for children. Let's hope they don't do that, because this episode will just ruin it for them, but that is a good thing. I liked it. Absolutely enjoyable, really nice narrative development, really lovely messages at the end. There may not have been that many things throughout it that I thought were, particularly interesting specifically, but The Sandman is Coming is still a really good episode.